Hello, everybody. How was your week? Let's get Twitter fired up here. Real quick like. We don't want them to miss out. Hey, Hoddle. First in the chat, then the yoke's on you with our... What do they call this guy? Just the chat octopus? Hello, Clankers over on YouTube. Go West. Better now that you have the Paris Hilton NPC. Oh, an NPC, not an avatar? Redeemed Queen of the Metaverse, Paris Hilton NPC. 20,000? 3 more left? What? I'm confused. For points, oh, Twitch, the Twitch channel points? Oh, I see it up on the feed. I was looking at the wrong. I was looking at the restream chat that has everybody's things combined. I didn't see the Twitch thing. Nice. Well, I'm sure that will go out to you soon. Hey, Ann and Joyce. Welcome back. All right, Twitch is up and running here. We're just gonna we're gonna hang out. It's gonna be kind of laid back. Mage Raids was intense, especially at the end. We streamed so much that last week. I was so tired at the end of it. I mean, like, I enjoy it. I have fun doing it, but it's a lot. Like, you know, people make fun of streamers sometimes when they talk about how like tired they are doing the work and stuff. And it's a different kind of tired, because I've worked jobs, like I've worked in a kitchen, I've worked in a print shop where I wasn't doing just graphic design, but I was also doing production work, running kind of heavy machinery, moving totes full of like thousands of letters, mailing machines and staplers and hot glue and folders and stuff. So you know, I've painted houses. I've had all sorts of like real work jobs. Is my voice quiet? It might just be the volume I'm speaking at. Yeah, it's where it usually is on the levels. At least that's what my computer tells me. I can't hear what you hear exactly. But yeah. So I've worked some real jobs and felt like real physical tiredness from those real jobs. And I have kids. You know, that's a different kind of tired. But there's like a lot of being on camera, presenting ideas and interacting with the chat. It's a different kind of tired. And you know, I don't think it's better or worse. It's just different. But like that last week of streaming though, I was very tired. It just after you know 4 or 5 hours straight of streaming, or doing like multiple streams in one day, and at the end of it I'm just fried. My brain is just like mush. Could have been a drainage engineer. Never ever. I don't know. I'm assuming you mean some sort of like sewer system. That's I am by far the oldest of my siblings, and I grew up changing diapers, like helping my mom, and I'd help with my younger siblings. So I have no problem dealing with diapers and potty training, and you know, just being a decent human being to the people around me. But when it comes to like industrial levels of waste, nope, not. You will not find me on dirty jobs. I will not do that. Or like farming jobs. I would probably do some sort of sewage management job before I would work on a farm, because I've never liked the smell of animals, even when it's just like normal. Like, we went to the town fair a couple weekends ago, and uh my daughters were like eating ice cream, hanging out with their uncle, and like watching some dogs do like tricks. And my wife wasn't really interested. She just wanted to go for like a little walk in the shade because it was really sunny and warm. So I went through like the barn that had all the cows, because it's, you know, it's a town fair and like a farm town, so, you know, everybody's showing off their animals, and they got all their ribbons up and stuff. And the smell, I just, manure, no, not, not for me. They're actually one of the oldest photos of me. Well, no, I guess there are older photos from when I was a baby and a toddler, but one of the photos that of me that comes to mind, I was like 4 years old, and I don't know why we were at a farm. I don't know if it was like a group field trip or just where we happened to be, but I'm just holding my nose and like looking at cows or goats or something. I don't remember what was on the other side of the fence. I don't think they're even in the picture. I think it's just me behind the fence, and I'm just holding my nose. Animals were not like livestock, not what I want to smell, which is great because we live in this farm town, which about like 3 or 4 times a year they fertilize the fields, and it reeks. It's so bad. There's just like a few days a year here where I'm just like, can we just move or die? Like, can we do something? Because we've got this drafty old house, so just the outside aromas just like leak in. So you wake up one morning and it just smells like cow poop in the house, and you can like taste it. It's bad. And that was also when we learned pretty early on that we could not hang dry clothes, because inevitably the day that we hang dry clothes is also the same day that they turn the field. So it's just like all the clothes smell and have to get washed again. And I'm like, okay, we're just gonna always use a dryer. LOL, so dramatic, says Hoddle Hill. I don't vibe with manure. It's just not my thing. All right, checking back through the chat here because I was talking about cow poop for too long. Time to chill. It is time to chill, Hoddle. Hey, Clankers. I think I already said hi to you. It's at 82 already. So my mic is always, I think my mic is just, maybe it doesn't have enough gain, or maybe I don't talk into it hard enough. I generally have a more like relaxed, laid back when I'm talking, unless I'm getting really hyped about something. But my mic is always turned up to 100. There are a few extra settings to like boost it a little bit more, but it doesn't always like sound good when you go all the way up. But it's weird because through like Discord, when Lucas is in on the call, he's always at like 70-75%, and I'm always at 100%, and he's still louder than me in the mix. Sandbox is partnered with Voxel Games. Could you explain? Seems Sandbox is telling no code game maker but allowing coding and enjoy. I'm not sure what you are referring to. Was there a recent announcement? Is Voxel Games a company? Or and enjoy. I recognize your name. I know you've been in the chat a bunch of times before, so I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you are aware like what the game maker is and stuff. So I'm sure I've written and said your name in game jams before. I'm pretty sure. So I'm guessing Voxel Games is an actual company and not just a genre you're mentioning. So if you give some more details, because I'm not sure what the announcement was, if you're referring to something specific. Clanker says, where there's poop, there's money, I suppose. I like my money with no poop on it. Drainage engineer and have a farm on the back of your house, both best of both worlds. So I would love to have like farm fresh eggs every day from some chickens. I have my best friend since I was 12 years old. Uh, he was best man at my wedding. Um, his parents and he live like way out in the woods. Like I think I live in the woods. He lives way out in the woods, in Connecticut, and they have a hen house with I don't know how many chickens are in there, but they have chicken. They've had chickens for like a decade or two at least. And man, their eggs are so fresh. Like, I mean, I just like eggs. I love making like breakfast burritos with some scrambled eggs, or sometimes I'll make a poached egg, or I've started making poached eggs. It's like the hardest way to make an egg for me. I usually just make them over easy with some corned beef hash or something. And breakfast is good. Eggs are good, but these eggs were so fresh, and like the color of the yolk is like different than what you get from the grocery store. It's like less yellow. It's more like deep orange. Like just really rich yolk flavor is so good. Man, I would eat those eggs every morning if I could. But he's like an hour drive away from me, so I don't get eggs from him that often. Okay, we got a tweet from Anna and Joyce for me to check out here. Draw the line at chicken poop. That really stinks. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about like cow manure that I'm like, nope, no, I can't do it. I don't really remember what chickens smell like. I mean, I've been by his hen house and I don't remember it being particularly bad. There's like a lot less of it. Like you have a dozen chickens, they make a lot less poop than one cow. Yeah. And I'd love to have like fresh herbs and tomatoes and cucumbers and stuff. Like I would love all of that. I have a hard time keeping like little shrub plants alive. Agriculture is not what I was built for. I do not have a green thumb, so to say. Seems like everything in Connecticut is an hour away. My sister is up there, and the airport is over an hour. That's because Connecticut is just like one big forest. Connecticut is all just woods with some like cities sprinkled in here and there, and we've got one major airport that I can think of, which is gosh, I can't even think of the name of it, out near Hartford, and that's kind of towards the middle of the state. But most people from the area I'm in, we actually drive out to Rhode Island to go to the TF Green Airport in Rhode Island. And yeah, okay, bye. Roxy McGill, you weren't even close to first. So Connecticut is about 100 miles top to bottom and 200 miles east to west. So not all of the highways like cross, like you can get north south on 395 really easily. You can go east west on 95 pretty easily. But then if you want to go from like the southeast corner to the northwest corner, you gotta go through Hartford or some of the other major cities. You kind of wind through like a bunch of back roads. So depending on which way you go, even though you can drive the height of the state in just over an hour pretty easily on the highway, going east to west, depending on where you're going, can take a while. My wife and I used to have a joke. I mean, we still have the joke, but we didn't mention it as often because we don't travel as much as we used to when we didn't have kids. We used to joke that Rhode Island is a shortcut to everywhere, because if you want to go to like the Cape Cod side of Massachusetts, you have to drive through Rhode Island, and if you want to fly anywhere, you want to go out of TF Green, so you have to drive to Rhode Island. And so a lot of places that we would go to, even sometimes some places we'd go in the northern part of Connecticut, we would take like a little detour through Rhode Island. So Rhode Island was just the shortcut to everywhere. As a silly joke, like it's not actually true at all. All right. Sometimes it's quicker and cheaper and quicker to fly into New York City. I I've never flown into New York City because I've always lived so close to New York City. Well, not always, but most of my life I've lived close enough to New York City. I will never ever in my life drive into New York City. I could. It's not that far away. I hate city driving, and New York City is. I've walked around in New York City enough to know that I would really hate driving there. All right, the Sandbox game announcing Voxel Games, an exciting new program bringing top indie developers into the Sandbox ecosystem. Read more Medium article. Partnering with Frag Games and DevHouse Agency, expanding our voxel-style gaming across multiple platforms. Devs can use Unity, Unreal, HTML5, and more. Combining traditional monetization with Web3 elements, this marks a new era of interoperability in gaming, furthering our mission of an open metaverse. Players will enjoy seamless experiences while building to Web3. First games dropping in 2025. So I was aware that we were providing some voxel assets for stuff, but I'm reading this for the first time, so I don't know all the details about this yet. The Sandbox, an immersive metaverse platform and subsidiary of Animoca Brands, has announced the launch of its new Voxel Games program following the Gamescom conference in Cologne. Through Voxel Games, so Voxel Games is our name for this. So we didn't partner with Voxel Games. Voxel Games is the name of our program. The Sandbox will be expanding the boundaries of its ecosystem by partnering with renowned indie developers and studios to create widely available games in its distinctive voxel style. Studio partners at launch include Frag Games and DevHouse Agency. I've heard of Frag Games, but I'm not super familiar with them. Okay, they made something for Asterix and Friends, Life in Willowdale, Cobra Kai: The Strike Back. Those don't sound familiar to me. It may just be like working in the industry. I may have just heard Frag Games at some point or seen it on somebody's like resume or LinkedIn or something. Why is my voice so low? Is it? Because according to my meter, I'm like right where I usually am. Sometimes when I'm talking, my voice gets a little bit quieter. But it should be boosting pretty close. Like even when I speak lowly, say it goes up there. It doesn't get a whole lot louder when I raise my voice. That's the compressor doing what it's supposed to do. All right, back to this article. So, through Voxel Games, the Sandbox, I've already read that. Studio partners at launch will include Frag Games and the DevHouse Agency, with more to be announced in the coming months. With this announcement, the Sandbox ecosystem is now better equipped to support even more creators through existing creation tools like VoxEdit and Game Maker. First-time creators have been able to build voxel-based assets, games, and experiences without any coding experience. Thanks to the Voxel Games program, professional game studios and indie developers can now enjoy the same creative freedom to develop voxel-style games using Unity, Unreal, HTML5, or other game engines of their choice beyond the Sandbox's no-code creation tools. These games can also be made available to play on other stores and platforms. By inviting its partners to build voxel-style games beyond its platform, the Sandbox furthers its mission of an open metaverse. This initiative marks a new era of interoperability and growth for both the Sandbox platform and its user base. Additionally, it offers gamers a smooth and operational bridge to Web3 without the complexity of blockchain development and onboarding. This program will further drive and support the ecosystem of creators in the Sandbox by providing them access to the wider gaming world. While all the games will remain true to the platform's focus on avatar-centric gameplay, the Voxel Games program will pursue projects across a range of devices including mobile, web, and PC, widening distribution possibilities to traditional platforms. Game game projects will utilize traditional game monetization mechanics, including free-to-play, microtransactions, in-app purchases, and ads, while also incorporating the blockchain components of the sandbox, such as accepting Sand utility token and its player-owned digital assets, such as avatars, lands, and voxel asset NFTs. This is an exciting opportunity to realize our vision of the metaverse, where players can acquire, own, and use their digital assets across multiple games and platforms beyond the sandbox, said Sebastian Bourget, COO and co-founder of the Sandbox. Engaging with indie developers and veteran game studios brings fresh ideas or proven gameplays to the table and helps us grow the widespread adoption of Web3 through voxel-style games. The Voxel Games program will allow indie studios to develop games utilizing the underlying technology and game engines of their choice, while being able to leverage and benefit from Sandbox's significant existing communities and ecosystem, including 6 million plus user accounts with 4.8 million crypto wallets, 25,000 landowners, 55,000 avatar owners, and 290,000 plus sand holders. This in turn presents the opportunity to symbolically increase the utility and adoption of the Sand token beyond the current the Sandbox platform. It always trips me up when, like, naturally I'd want to say beyond the current Sandbox platform, but of course the Sandbox is the actual name, so you're supposed to have the in there, but I don't usually say it. Which is already a top 10 gaming token by market capitalization, according to CoinMarketCap at the time of publishing. The Sandbox boasts over 170,000 voxel asset owners and 1.7 million assets already created. And this doesn't mean like minted. This is just how many assets have been uploaded to the platform total. Through the Voxel Games program, projects will gain exposure to 400 plus partner brands, offering studio access to valuable intellectual property. Existing users of the Sandbox will benefit from being able to use their assets across a new portfolio of games, reinforcing the Sandbox's vision, where players can connect their wallets and utilize their owned and branded digital assets, avatars, equipment, and wearables, and more across multiple platforms and games. Beyond utilization, in-game benefits for users from the Sandbox will be designed into Voxel Games projects, such as exclusive skins, props, and accessories, access to certain areas within the upcoming releases, and more. Frag Games believes in the Sandbox's vision that the metaverse should exist for shared experiences, unbound by any single platform. The next generation of metaverse games will be just games, says Ali Ihsan, CEO of Frag Games. Gamers will enjoy their great gameplay, iconic voxel aesthetics, and invested community. Along the way, they will interact with the chain, tokens, and exchanges in the background. We're thrilled to partner with the Sandbox, bringing our passion and expertise in game development to their vibrant Web3 ecosystem, said Jim Welch, founder of DevHouse. I believe this collaboration can elevate Web3 gaming by leveraging IP and digital ownership with deeply fun gameplay. We look forward to engaging with the Sandbox community and continue contributing to the expanding universe of the metaverse. The Sandbox continues to actively review and refine the process for the Voxel Games program. Initial guidelines and submission form can be found here. With further updates coming in the weeks ahead. Currently, developer and studio selection is by referral only and not open to the public. So there's a form with no link, but it's by referral. The first Voxel game games, branding, are expected to be released in 2025. Follow the Sandbox on X, Instagram, Medium, and Discord for latest updates. And we all know what the Sandbox is. And Animoca Brains. So what this sounds like to me is like expanding. So you know how there's Minecraft, and the people can create their own worlds in Minecraft. They can set up their server and have their own mods and set up their Minecraft world the way they want. They may even make like a story mode using mods to like limit the amount you can edit a space, and you end up with like a narrative or kind of like MMO style game within Minecraft, and that's your server. But then they've also got is it Minecraft Legends? Is that what it's called? Yeah, Minecraft Legends. which is and like Minecraft story mode, and was there like Minecraft Earth? Like there's other games in the Minecraft ecosystem that are tangent to it. That's kind of what this sounds like to me. If you want to look at it that way. There's Minecraft the movie, but you know that's a media thing, not a game thing necessarily. Let's see if there were any comments in the chat while I was reading that. Hey Nasman. Roxy Miguel asks if TSB will pay me if I make games in other engines with voxel assets that I made with VoxEdit being indie. So sort of. But yeah, you would want to. So like I said, it's by referral. So what you. Let me tell you who this is for, really. This is more for like the people who made Pixelville. So we played Pixelville on stream. It was one of the best experiences I've played in the sandbox as far as aesthetic and storytelling, and the game mechanics were pretty solid in it. I mean, the game mechanics were, you know, they embraced the existing mechanics of the sandbox. They didn't really go creating, you know, projectiles before we had a projectile system and making like, you know, we see some like really exotic game mechanics in the game jams. People making all sorts of really cool ways of creating games but they really embraced the core gameplay of Sandbox Vanilla, if you will, which is, you know, the hack and slash sword inventory and you know, asker and quests and those kind of interactions. So they kind of just went with the adventure mode of Sandbox. That's kind of the default, and without building bespoke mechanics into it. So if we go to Pixelville, is there an English version of their website? Yes, there is. Okay, good. Just waiting for their website to load all the way here. It's very there's not a lot on their homepage. There was more information about their other projects. Oh, here we go. This is what I was looking for. So, this is Pixelville. And like I said, we played this on stream. Actually, I never played Pixelville last night. I'm hoping that I get the chance to play that, because I loved the main Pixelville game so much. Super duper cute, super awesome. And here we go. Here's a video of the gameplay. It just was like really, really good. Loved it so much. The group, the studio that made Pixelville, is TDF, the Design Frontier, which is a company out of Korea. They work on MapleStory, which is like an MMO. They do, I think they do narrative and graphics work for MapleStory. I don't think they made the actual game engine. And MapleStory's been around, I think, since I was in high school. It's been around for a long time. They've also worked on Dungeon Fighter, Crazy Arcade B&B. I'm not familiar with any of these. Tales Weaver, Kingdom of the Winds. So they're like an actual studio. They're not like I don't want to say that the Sandbox studios are not actual studios, but that they're an existing game developer with a catalog of projects that they worked on. They've been successful in the Web 2 gaming world, and exist outside the Sandbox. So they have experience working in game engines. So when you approach with something like a no-code game maker, they don't really need that. And they can work at a I guess a higher level where they can work in like Unity or Unreal or Yo-Yo Games Game Maker, Godot. Maybe they're working just in C++ and C# and whatever. So the usefulness of a no-code game maker is not as useful for them because they have programmers. And I think the Sandbox is trying to provide a resource for people that are already operating at that level. That doesn't mean that the game maker's going away, because I know the game maker's not going away. I've seen what's coming down the pipeline for the game maker. I am so excited for next year because I've seen the features that are coming in the next major versions of the game maker, and I really wish I could tell you about them right now because they're really cool, but I can't tell you about them right now because we haven't gotten to there yet. So the game maker's not going away. The no-code game maker is not going away. That's still going to be a thing, and we're still working on those for people. So you don't have to worry about that. But I think they're trying to make an opportunity for other people who would like to interact with the Sandbox ecosystem, who can just kind of go full blast with their programming capabilities outside of the game maker. So yeah, that's I think who that's for, because we've also seen like Pixelville and some other creators who have more advanced builders who know how to code, feel like they're limited by the no-code game maker. The no-code game maker is like really good for people like me who don't know a programming language. Like I think I could learn a programming language. I've done coding before. I just have a really bad memory for syntax, and I never really had the opportunity to work on it dedicated for a long period of time. There's been times I've started projects since high school. Like I'm talking like almost 20 years of dabbling in it, and I will get started on something and life gets in the way. I got busy with high school, I got busy with college, I got busy with real world full-time jobs, and I got busy with the family. So I just never really had the time to dedicate into really learning a programming language, even though I started a whole bunch of times. So no code game maker is great for me because I can figure that out without having to learn syntax and all the nuances of coding. I would still like to get into the actual coding aspect. But the no code game maker is great for me because it's at a level where I can figure it out. But for somebody who already has all the knowledge to dive fully into coding, it's going to be very limiting for what they know how to do. There's times in the game maker where I feel limited, where I'm like, oh, I know that I could do this in this other software, right? Like there came the question when we put player in brackets, so it inserts the player's name. It's like, why can't we do that for the speaker of a question? So that way we can say like, Wizzy the Blue says this on the asker behavior, and then Kamisazi replies with whatever when you do player. I think that's something that we could fix. We could make it possible to insert the player's name in that position. It's just not there right now. But I'm thinking back to what I know from messing around with RPG Maker and Yo-Yo Games Game Maker, where it's like, yeah, you can put string of text in a variable and then you can place it in text anywhere in anything. Or, I mean, you can do that in Google spreadsheets. You can, uh, set a cell to hold a value and then you insert it into text in other places. So, like, these are things that exist that people will naturally go like, I know I can do this elsewhere. Why can't I do it here? And that can be really frustrating. I like the no code. I even like the frustrations of the no code game maker because those limitations make me think inside the box instead of like outside the box. So those limitations force me to like solve a puzzle, to do what I want to do within those limitations. And sometimes I come up with a creative result that's like maybe not what I expected it would be, but it's something really neat. So I actually kind of enjoy working in those limitations. But yeah, I think this is just a way for more experienced teams to be able to work with the sandbox, and maybe that might mean that those studios might be buying assets from artists on the marketplace to integrate them into their stories. That could potentially mean that if you have like a sandbox avatar that you're able to play as those characters in those games, maybe. I don't know what the plans are for their games specifically, but that would be cool. I'm looking forward to, as I'm working on like the Wizzyverse avatars, I would really like to make them interoperable with other games. So if that's something that could work with these voxel games program stuff, I think that would be really cool too. Clanker says, I think that Wizzy the Blue should be on the DAO committee. He's been here long. I think, isn't Seb technically on the committee? He's been here longer than Wizzy the Blue. Some people did suggest me being on the DAO. I don't know. First of all, I don't know that I have time to be on the DAO. And I'm also actual staff, so I don't know that they wanted actual staff people on the DAO. I don't remember who else on there. Besides, like, I don't think there's any staff on there. But anyway, I know you're in charge of the program. Please referral me. I'm not in charge of the program. I said it when I started reading the article. I knew that I had to give some asset resources to a studio. I think it was like the dev. What was that one called? Dev House. I think it was called Dev House. I was the assets that we use internally as staff, the exclusive assets. I was sharing access to that stuff to them. But that article is most of the new info that I know. So as far as like the referrals and stuff like that, not me. Okay, you are not in charge. That is right. Clankers asks, do you think that the Catalyst purchasing idea will ever be abolished? I don't think that Catalyst purchasing will be abolished. It might change the way that it works. I mean, Catalysts have been around since the first Sandbox assets were minted. Sort of. I'm trying to think. The first assets we minted, I think Catalysts and Gems both existed for that. You know, I don't remember if they were burned or not. Let me see. I could actually probably look it up. If we go to OpenSea and look up some of the oldest Sandbox assets, we can probably look at the Etherscan transaction for its minting and see what happened. So I made the Sand Coin Fountain. This was in the second batch of assets that were minted. So we did the first land sales on Ethereum. It was before the Sand token was released. The first lands were sold just with ETH. And the very first land sales, there were a couple, there were like, I don't know, a dozen or so assets that went up for sale with that. And this was from the second batch of those sales. This was the first, basically my first Sandbox NFT that I made. Or at least that got minted. So if we go way back, I scrolled too hard. So we got some sales. Okay, it doesn't look like OpenSea goes back that far, but we can look on Etherscan. And if we go to the token here, on Etherscan, it should go all the way back to the beginning. We'll go to the last page here. Mint, 99 minted, or more than 99 minted, I guess. 1,329 days ago. Clanker says exclamation point fountain in the chat. That's a really old throwback. My Minotaur could be one of the first. It is early on in there. I don't know that it's not quite this far back. You can see the other tokens that were minted this transaction. This robot, which super old, and this Eiffel Tower. So it looks like tokens transferred. Here's all the assets. They did it all in one batch. So I didn't actually mint this myself. It was like minted on my behalf. Okay, so I think these first batches were not minted with catalysts. I don't think that had been quite set up yet. Roxy Miguel says, I believe that this program in which you are not in charge, insert link emoji, will create or generate more utility to the Sandbox assets on and off platform. I agree with it potentially creating or generating more utility for assets. I am definitely not in charge of it. I am only slightly in the loop as to what's going on with it, but I'm definitely not in charge of it. I promise. I don't know how I can prove that to you other than me just not knowing what's going on. But yeah, I'm not. Don't at me. So anyway, these were minted without catalyst burns. If we go, actually, I don't know if this link will even work still. Oh, hey, it does. Some of these older assets, they refer to like a weird place when you try to link from OpenSea. It's a prop. It doesn't have any stats here. It says rare. It doesn't show what its properties are. Maybe because it's a prop and not a category art fountains. Okay, that's newish. Yeah, I don't remember. I think it's got magic gems on it. I don't remember off the top of my head. So yeah, I think where was I going with all of this? I don't remember what we were talking about. We brought up the fountain. Oh, catalysts, whether catalysts will go away. So well, okay, the purchasing is a new thing because before we were just giving the catalysts to people who needed to mint, and it was a very closed ecosystem. Seb would give them to some people, I would give them to some people, And like if we had a partner who's starting a project, or people in the Game Maker Fund, or people in the Creator Fund, we would provide those catalysts to them so that way they can mint. But you had to go through approvals, and it was a whole like closed thing. So the whole point of putting it up for sale is it's an open ecosystem that anybody can participate in. So yeah, you do need money in order to buy the catalysts, but there's no restriction on who can do that now. It's an open platform. OpenSea has the stats as 24 defense, 48 luck, and 28 magic on a rare. We were a little fast and loose with the stats back then. There's I think it was that robot has like 5 gems or something like that. Even though we can only put 4 gems on a legendary catalyst, it was it had stats in like every property, every attribute. So it was a little wild back then. Anyone who wants to show people that they have been here a while should own a fountain. Yeah. Old days. That was our first giveaway item. Check a proposal on a new NFT system. Is that on the forum? Sandbox DAO proposals. Are the proposals are on the forum, right? Or do you have to go to the DAO page? Proposals. See, run a feasibility study for NFT evolution. Is that SIP 13 that you're talking about? Okay, actually on the forum. Hey, the Red Rebellion. How's it going over there on YouTube? All right. What do we got here? This proposes to enhance NFT asset creation and marketplace interaction by requiring creators to embed sand tokens when minting assets. Additionally, the proposal introduces mechanics for players to add rarity and attributes to assets post-purchase, along with a reroll system to refine attributes, thus promoting deeper sand token integration within the game. So I already like some aspects of this. This is similar to stuff that we had talked about like 4 years ago with minting assets. Some of the early ideas for catalysts involved you would mint the catalyst like without gems, and the catalyst would have slots, and then the owner of the NFT could put gems on it that they wanted to use, or they could change them potentially. That had some really cool ideas. There were some token limitations, which is why it didn't come about that way. Just realized I got like a scratch on my arm. I don't know where that came from. So there's, I can't remember the name of the game. It always reminded me of it's a dungeon crawler game. It's kind of like Diablo Light, I guess. What was it called? But the gem sockets is what it always reminded me of. Fate. That's what I'm thinking of. I literally just Googled dungeon crawler game with fishing and equipment sockets. That's all I could remember. So there was this game called Fate, where you would get equipment, and the better equipment, like the more rare equipment, had sockets on it, and then you could find different gems that would give it attributes that you could put in the sockets to power up your weapons. And I always really liked that concept, and that's kind of what catalysts and gems were at the start before we actually implemented the token stuff. So some of the difficulty with this is that the ERC 1155 contract is not one of one NFTs. And there are that makes things a little complicated when my mic's doing that dumb buzz thing. I hate it when it starts doing that. Why does it always do that? Stop. One second. All right, it should be a little bit better. So the concept for the catalyst was that you could mint the item, you'd have some sockets that you could put the gems in, and potentially if you like traded that item, like the gems would carry over, so you could like power up a sword and then sell it. I love that concept. And the difficulty with the ERC 1155 contract is that if you mint, say, 10 copies of that sword, they're identical copies, and they are fungible. So while the sword asset itself is a non-fungible token because it's a sword that is different from the other swords on the platform, the copies are more like fractional elements of it. So there's no way on chain really to distinguish between sword 1 and sword 10 or any of the swords in between, because they're identical copies, and if you look at the transaction history for them, they all are bundled together as being the one asset. So if I mint 10 swords, I sell one of them to, say, Snoop Dogg, and Snoop Dogg sells it to Paris Hilton, and then Paris Hilton sells it to Roxy Miguel. The Roxy Miguel could say that he bought it from that person, and that person bought it from that person, that person bought it from me, and that would all be traceable on the chain. However, if Snoop Dogg bought 2 from me, and then Paris Hilton bought 1 from me and 1 from Snoop Dogg, and then Roxy Miguel bought both from Paris Hilton, there wouldn't, or actually, sorry, just bought 1 from Paris Hilton, there would be no way to tell if the one that Roxy Miguel bought from Paris Hilton was the same one that Snoop Dogg owned, or if it was the one that Paris Hilton bought directly from me. Because, like I said, they're fungible, they're interchangeable, and it's like dollar bills in a bank account, not actual physical dollar bills with a serial number on them, but unmarked bills digitally on a bank account balance. Like when you deposit money in your bank, it doesn't tell you which serial numbers of the bills are in your bank. It's just a dollar value. So when Paris Hilton buys 1 from Snoop Dogg and 1 from me, and then sells one of them to Roxy Miguel has, it's not so much that he doesn't have a way to tell, it's that there is no difference between those 2 copies. They're an ephemeral object. Like there's no physical ness to them, and there's no difference between buying one or buying the other. It's like pouring water into a bucket from 2 different cups, and then you put a cup in that bucket and pull out, and it's like, well, which cup did that water come from? Like, well, it kind of came from both. It's all mixed together. There's no difference between the water from cup A and cup B when you pull it out into cup C. So that makes doing anything unique on those assets not really feasible with the ERC 1155 contract. And I'm not an expert in Ethereum contracts, so I don't know what all is and isn't possible on those contracts, but I do know the way that ours are currently set up. We don't have any way to like implement there being unique attributes on one copy versus another copy, which is why we didn't end up doing the slot thing, because you would have those swords and say I put like 2 power gems on it. There wouldn't be anything in the NFT record that shows that those gems are there. So whoever buys it, it's just like those gems like would never have existed, kind of. The cats track the journey of the NFT? No, because the catalysts are burned. So the catalysts only enable attributes. So that's why when you mint something on the sandbox now, every single copy has the same stats. If we made it so that way you could trade them separately, then they could potentially have different stats. But the way it is right now, all those copies are identical and, like I said, fungible. When you put multiple copies in the same wallet, they're indistinguishable from each other. It's like you don't want to think of. I got little sticky notes here. Here we go. So I got like these 3 copies. We'll pretend they're all the same color. Oh, that's green. That's not gonna work. We'll pretend that these are all the same color. These are 3 copies of a sword. In separate wallets, you can tell who owns them. And if they trade to one person, then you can tell that it was that copy. And you could have the whole lineage of what's the provenance, I think is the word, right? To show who owned. But as soon as you put them in the same wallet, it's not that you're holding 1, 2, 3 in the wallet. You're holding 3 copies of one thing. And there's no difference between them. So as soon as they go into the same wallet, the provenance kind of disappears. So that's like I think a limitation of the ERC 1155 contract. So if you wanted to have something like what we had planned a long time ago of having like gem slots and powering up those items, you want it to be that each copy is non-fungible. So instead of having copies of the token, they each become separate tokens. Because all 3 of these have the same token ID. That's why when you put them in the same wallet, it's just 3 copies of the same thing. But if you give them separate token IDs, which is more like one-of-ones, then you can start doing cool stuff with them that makes them different from each other. Like adding attributes, adding history. You could say, hey, this sword was used to defeat this boss in some game. You could have a full provenance of who owned it. Even if it ended up in the same wallet as another copy, they would have separate token IDs, and you would be able to tell them apart from each other. One thing that bothers me about Catalyst is that not all the assets I would like to sell need attributes, and I don't like the common label on that asset is gray and sad. So, I mean, if you don't need catalysts on it, what color should the background be? I think, you know, we had, but before layer 2, we had what is now called common minting used to be prop minting, and it was like a separate part. I think it was actually a second contract for minting. It minted to the same asset collection on OpenSea, but it was a slightly different contract that didn't use catalysts, and that's basically what common is now. So they just kind of merged those two into one minting, and that's why we have uncommon now, which is what common used to be. Can adding attributes later count as a separate mint? I wouldn't say it counts as a mint because the item already exists. If you wanted to add attributes, that would just be like a transformation of the item. And we do have some transformative contracts. When you transform your avatar for an event, it changes the way it looks. Even does it change it on OpenSea? I don't remember if it changes it on OpenSea, but it certainly changes it on the Sandbox. Because if you look at the marketplace, you'll actually see, like, you'll look at like Fist of the North Star avatar collection, and you see some rabbits in there, and you're like, how did those get in there? It's like, well, because it's a transformed avatar for that event. Maybe a cat with a different name and color, but I don't know if that would work for everyone. So I think it's just, I mean, you could have it be a white background, a black background, gray is just in between those things. I think it's mostly just, it's like a lack of background for common, right? That's why common's the cheapest one. Personally, I'm in favor of something more similar to what we had before with prop minting, where common is maybe not a catalyst. Mostly because I like the idea of people being able to mint tickets or passes for things, and I want to make sure that people can mint enough to have their event be popular. If you spend, what's sand, like 25 cents right now? So if you buy 1,000 catalysts, that's $250. That's expensive. And then you mint them, and you're limited to only 1,000 people being able to enter your game. Now, it can be difficult to get 1,000 people to play your game. You know, that's a lot of work. You know, a lot of advertising and promotion and stuff and motivating people to play your game. So 1,000 would be great, right? If you get 1,000 people to play your game, that's awesome. But if you want to grow past that, now you got to mint more tokens, and depending on how you set up your token gating, like we can't token gate 2 separate assets for entering the experience, but you can token gate after people enter the experience. So what I would actually suggest, if you're looking for ways to monetize your game, so we've got different layers going on here. We've got here's your game. Here's your game page, right? And here's the token gate to let people in. So if people want to get in to play your game, and you use the token gate, you can only have one asset or one collection be the gate. And so a collection can be an avatar like the Snoop Doggies. It could be like Artifact Clone X. It could be an external collection. And typically those external collections are like profile pictures, and oftentimes they have 10,000 or less. So limiting your game to only 10,000 people, if you can get that kind of traction, you probably want to go past that number of people, right? So doing something like the token gate becomes very exclusive, which is great if you want to run an exclusive event to say only avatar holders can participate in this event. They'll get special prizes for it, Everybody else is locked out. That's cool. But if you want your game to have a lot of traction with a lot of people, you're actually going to want to use the token sensor inside your game. So we would get rid of this. Wrong way. We would get rid of this and say page. And this is your game. So you want people to get inside your game. And maybe you have a demo area. For like the first 3 quests of your game. And then you've got the door to the next part of the game, and you make that a token sensor. Now, the reason you want to do it this way is because you can have more than one asset to let them through to the rest of your game. The token sensor has 2 different modes. It has an AND mode and an OR mode. So you can make something that's super exclusive and say you need to have token A and token B in order to get in. Or you can make it super wide open and say, if you own this or this or this or this or this, and the list I don't think has an actual limit, or it's a very large limit. You can say, if you have any one of these items, any single one of them, it'll let you through the gate. So you can kind of batch mint your NFT passes if you want. So you could start with, say, 100 passes, which would cost you about $25 with the current price of sand to get a common catalyst, and then your mint fee, which would be, I think, a few cents or $1. And then you can sell those, and anybody can play your demo, anybody can get in here, and then they get to this point and it says, okay, you've played the demo content. If you want to keep playing this story, you need this item, and here's the link to go and buy it. And you can buy any one of these items. So you've minted your first pass, but now they've sold out because your game's actually really good and really popular, and a bunch of people are playing it, and they're getting their friends to play it, and you've sold out. So, oh no, now you gotta mint more. So now you've spent $25 making 250 tokens. Is my math right on that? Oh, you spent $25 making 100 tokens. That's what it was. They all sold out, and people are like, I want to get in. And you go, okay, well, if you sold those all for, say, $1, like a mobile game, 99 cents. So you spent $25 making 100 tokens, and I don't even need a calculator for this. This math is simple. You spent $25 to make 100 tokens, and you sold them all for 99 cents. Now you have $99. And that means you can make 400 tokens for your next batch. If you spend all of that on common catalysts. And you can just keep doing that, and you can keep adding them to the token sensor. And that's why you don't want to use the NFT gate, because you'll get more traction with players having a fun demo, and you'll have an ad basically for selling your pass, and you'll have you'll make revenue that will let you make more, and you can just keep on adding more tokens saying this pass or this pass. And you want to use or, not and, because then people have to own both of those if you use and. So you use or, and you can just keep on doing that over and over again until people stop buying the passes. I am in favor of functional passes. I think equipment makes a good pass better than, say, an actual ticket. or a prop, because while all of your friends in the sandbox might be builders, not all the players are going to be builders. So you want to give them an asset that is something functional that they'll enjoy. So the disadvantage to common is that there's no stats on it. So you might want to go with uncommon, up the price a little bit. And I'm sorry, my pricing was off here because I did say I was talking about sand and not the price of catalysts. I actually don't know the price of catalysts off the top of my head. So the math is a little more complicated than what I said. Let's see, what's the price of catalysts? To buy a common catalyst, oh, pro tip. Don't just hit this buy button. It's 1 sand, by the way, to buy a common catalyst, so it's 25 cents. So I was actually... my price was okay, I think. So 1 sand is the price set by the sandbox. People who want to sell are actually selling them for less. So the price up here at the top is the sandbox price. But if you want to buy lower than that, most people who are selling on the marketplace are actually selling them for less. So it's 0.95 sand here. Same, like if you look at, say, Epic, the price is 40 sand. Look at that. 31 sand, 32 sand, 32 sand. So if you're shopping, make sure to scroll down past this. So anyway, $25 would be 100 sand, 100 common catalysts. Yeah, so my math did end up being fine, I think. Just because the price of a common catalyst happens to be 1 sand. What's a uncommon catalyst? Is 3 sand. So maybe you want to sell it for a little bit more. Sometimes it appears, but the sellers don't have enough to sell. It seems like it takes a long time to update. I have noticed that before because I had to buy a bunch of catalysts for the mage raids equipment. So I've noticed that also. Sometimes I think the problem is when people navigate away from the page while they're buying, which it actually tells you not to do. When I bought and I stayed on the page, it updated it almost immediately. At least from my view. I don't know if that affects other people or not. Sometimes it does take the dashboard a little while to synchronize with transactions. So your results will vary here. What I recommend is buying them from one person at a time, because you can just click this cart and you can add them all to your cart. But I found that it doesn't tell you who doesn't have it. So it says a seller doesn't have enough copies to sell this to you. But I don't know which one it is. So I found it's just easier to click the buy button and buy from one person at a time. You spend, I think, a little bit more in gas because the transactions don't bundle together. So I would try bundling them first, put them all together, and then you can edit your cart and you can say how many you want from each. If it doesn't work and it says that somebody doesn't have enough, you can actually you can turn them off here. You click this checkbox and then it won't try buying from that person. So it makes it a little bit smoother, but yeah, if you're having trouble trying to figure it out, just click buy on each individual one, and if none of them work, then you buy it at the base price. But if you're looking for a smooth buying experience with no hitches, then buy it at the full price. But if you're looking to save a little bit of money, take a look at the other sellers because they're probably selling it for less than the sandbox is. So anyway, you can do the demo content with a gate at a certain point in your game. Another way you could do it is you could put a timer. I just thought about this yesterday. If you wanted to do this demo scenario, you could also make it time-based. So if somebody wants to play really, really fast and maybe try to beat your game without paying, they could try this. But if you set a timer of, say, like 5 minutes, so at the start of your game, player joins, and you've got 5 minutes on the clock, they got this variable counting down. And when that variable reaches 0, then it pops up a little box that says, hey, thanks for playing the game. If you would like to keep going, you need to buy this thing. And it basically just like won't let them out of that conversation unless they get the thing. Or maybe it puts them like in a holding area. If they own the NFT from the start of the game, then you can just skip this clock entirely. So you want the logic being like on player join, it does the NFT check. And maybe at this, at the start of the game, it might be annoying to have like a sales pitch right at the start. So you actually have two options when you put an NFT sensor. You can give a prompt, or you can have it not give a prompt to buy. So at the start of your game, it checks, do they have the item? They're looking for the token. And if it's a yes, then they just keep playing to victory. Ta-da! Little shiny lines. If it's a no, then they get to play, and it doesn't prompt them at the start to buy anything, but they get to play for 5 minutes, and you would have a little timer on the side that says demo timer. And maybe you would alert them at the beginning, like, hey, because you don't own this item, you'll only get to play for 5 minutes. But don't put the sale up there first. Just give them like a little alert that goes like, hey, you've only got so much time to play this demo. And then when their timer runs out, then they get the NFT buy page that says, hey, you can buy one of these 3 passes, and you only need one in order to keep playing. And this page actually tells them, it says like, you can buy it right now and it'll take like 10 minutes for the chain to update. So they can choose whether they want to like buy it now and come back later. Like, just do something else on their computer or walk away from the computer and come back and keep playing. Or they could buy and restart the game from the start. And if they say, nah, I don't want it, then they get, a game over screen. Or if they do buy it and they wait until it refreshes, then they can go and keep playing. And so I think this would be a really effective monetization model, and it's one that I've not really seen yet. Somebody's probably done something like this. I love your mad scientist drawings, non-coding at its finest. I'll admit I'm totally stealing this from Pirate Software. I've really been enjoying his shorts. I think he's got a lot of wisdom to share. He hates NFTs, but that's okay. Nobody's perfect. He says that this really is a good educational tool that helps people like absorb the information and pay attention better. And I know that if I'm listening to somebody talking and I'm doodling, that helps my ADHD to like have an activity to do, and I listen better when I'm doodling, which is the thing that a lot of times schools try to like not literally, but figuratively beat out of you, like, stop doodling. And it's like that. I am listening better because my brain is, all the noise that happens, if I start drawing, the noise goes away. And then I can actually listen. Otherwise, my brain is just like going with ideas. And it's like, I'm trying to pay attention. And my brain's like, no, we want to do stuff. So anyway, I think this could be really effective for people. So people are looking like, how can I make money in the sandbox right now? Like, how can I, as a single independent developer, or how can I, with my small studio that doesn't know how to do coding in Unity or Unreal or anything like that, how do I work in the sandbox, and how do I make a profit? Well, I think, if you can get $25 together and you can get enough to do a common catalyst, and you can make a hat, don't do wizard hats, that's my thing. You do like a wizard hat, or a cape, or whatever, then that becomes a functional token where people are like, hey, I look cool, and it lets me play this game. And then you can keep on, add on different equipment, make a cool staff, or different colors of the hats, or whatever. And you can start using, you can make them premium. Don't do them all in common catalyst. Start buying some of the higher level catalysts. Start making equipment that has stats. Use them in your game as things that people unlock through playing the game, but also be like, hey, you can start the game with this wizard staff and be more powerful for the entirety of the game, and be able to play the full game. And you'll probably get people who are like, yeah, I already own the hat, but I also want the power upgrade from the staff, so that way I can start the game more powerful. And then they're going to have both of them. And you can do more sensors throughout your game to have VIP areas and be like, okay, we got the VIP club section for all the pro players here. We've got special chests throughout the game. This is something that we saw in the zombie survival game. I can't remember the title of it off the top of my head. But that first-person zombie survival game had all those premium unlocks throughout the game, which weren't active yet because they hadn't minted the tokens, and I can't wait for them to actually do it because I want to support their game because they're doing a real good job with it. But they had like the extra lives, the 1-ups, and like survivor packs and stuff that eventually you're supposed to be able to buy some stuff and it'll get you those special unlocks. So yeah, you start making these items in game that will let them do that. You could also, I was talking about functional tokens as, being easier to sell. People are more willing to buy something that they can wear in every game. Well, if you do make it a common catalyst, you could have it unlock an epic in your game. So while they bought, say, Wizzy the Black's armored hat, which we'll just for the sake of it say is a common catalyst, you mint 100 of those, 100 people buy them, but then in game over here, we've got this with, a special missile launcher on it or something, I don't know. A little rocket launcher. And that is an epic catalyst, and you only minted one of them. And that's in your game, and anybody who plays your game, and you don't even actually have to mint that, right? You can upload that asset and set it as a epic with certain stats. You don't even have to mint it, you just publish it in your game, and people who are wearing the common hat will get this hat unlocked in game as soon as they start or at some point in the game. There you go. So these are all methods that, you know, basically you're like making sort of microtransactions to monetize your game. How did we get on this topic? Trying to remember. Roxy Miguel talking about Catalyst. It would be like in a Skyrim enchantment table, but on the TSP page with the wallets. Yeah, so I like I said, I do like the idea of using the catalysts and having sockets on them to put gems in. I would love for gems to come back. You know, there's a lot of things that I think we could still do with it. And none of this stuff is set in stone, right? Like, we at the Sandbox, this is the game that we're making. We make up the rules. It's not like there's a way that it has to be done. The limitation is sometimes the tech on the tokens. So like I said, ERC 1155 for the assets, I don't know if it can support doing the catalysts and all the different things with it to make them unique, where each copy becomes almost like soul bound and all these things. You could do that on a non-chain level. You could say, okay, Roxy Miguel's account owns this item, and anytime he uses that item in game, these are the stats it has. It's getting XP, it's getting power-ups, it's getting upgrades. Any game he goes to in the Sandbox, it'll carry those details with it. But as soon as you sell it, it all resets. And then somebody else has the base version of it, and then they have to level it up. That's certainly a thing that could be built without changing the contract token tech. But if you want to make that token side, there are going to be more changes needed. Scrolling back. I've been talking a lot and not reading the chat as much. One thing that bothers me about cats is that not all the assets I would like to sell... Oh, we already read that about the gray. So can adding attributes later on count as separate mint? Yeah, so I mean, I think the gray is... It just kind of makes sense for it being the basic version. But I do, like, I know the gray is, like, not as fun. Take a look at what do they look like right now. What I'm sad about is that art is now gray. Because the prop type existed because the art type existed. The art minting was the same way that we would also get the basic minting, because it was a non-catalyst contract. And now everything that was art is now common catalysts. But I mean, it's, you know, the website's like this dark black gray almost. Like this metal lathe is pretty cool, but I don't know that having a shiny background behind it is gonna make it better. Like we've got like the voice microphone. It's got the little shiny things. Would having the little shiny things on the gray background be okay? And you could say it's silver. Would that be the needed improvement? Because the extra properties that you get out of it having, well, this is universal, so it probably doesn't have stats anyway. Where's something that I know has properties? I mean, we did look at the fountain. Where are the collections? Marketplace, collectible packs. Way down at the bottom. Or I thought it would be way down at the bottom. Where is it? Did it get disabled? A squint. It's right there. I don't know why it didn't show up. So like these were all minted as art. The golden key, the golden chest, golden skull, golden anchor, they're all minted as art, which now makes them common. And we fought so long, the artists, we fought so long, we were like, it's art. It should be like cool. So they made this really cool background for it where it was purple, gold, blue, and I think it was just purple, gold, and blue. And was like a gradient between them. So that way it had the kind of like a rainbow gradient thing going on and just looked fancier. Because they were supposed to be valued like above legendaries. And we're like, but it's gray like the common. So I am sad that that went away for those because it looked nice and I liked it. But it is what it is. Yeah, re-rolling was a thing that was in that idea also. Being able to pay sand to re-roll a stat. So, I mean, I think those are all cool ideas. Nah, Relax over on Twitch says hello. How's it going? What if all games that are in the experience of the week gated their experience? What if only one does it? I don't know what that would do. I'm not in the team that like selects the highlights and stuff like that. You know, they'd probably experiment around with different ideas and stuff. Could you sum that up in 30 seconds? I probably missed. You said that 8 minutes ago. I don't know which thing you wanted me to sum up. Can I draw it in 30 seconds? I mean, not with a mouse. Not with a mouse on paint. But I could draw it by hand on paper in 30 seconds, probably. All right, so you want the 30-second breakdown of all this stuff, right? Okay, real quick. 30. You want the clip, right? Is that what you're doing? Is that what you're asking for? So let me do one thing. I'm gonna say that and that. Okay. So you've got your experience page. You don't want to use a token gate for the whole experience because it limits you to one token or one profile picture collection. You don't want that. What you want to do is have players connect to your game, be in the game, and either have a demo area where they're able to play maybe 1 to 3 quests, and then they come to a gate of some sort, which has a token sensor that checks if they own the token item, or they start playing the game and a timer starts, and they get maybe 5 minutes to play the game, and if they don't own the token item, it's going to prompt them to buy the token item so they can keep playing the game. And that's how you make demo content in the sandbox. Was that under 30 seconds? It felt like it was under 30 seconds. Close enough. If all players would buy the ticket or no one would play the week's experience that week. So I think if you have that demo area, people are going to play it. You know how many times I played a demo when I was a kid? The same demo over and over. Granted, I had dial-up. I didn't have video games. I was playing what I could. But if your demo is fun enough, make the demo really fun. Like, make your whole game fun, obviously. Like, that's the whole point of playing games, is to have fun. But make sure that people play the demo and are craving more. So you don't want it to be a mini game where replaying it gets them the same content over and over again. I'm talking about like a narrative-based game where there's half an hour to an hour of content. It has sloth in the link. Oh, yeah. Twitch clips have weird URL names. I don't know why they're like that. The choices were not as abundant as they are now. Well, I mean, I'm talking about the late 90s. There were definitely choices out there, but I was still on dial-up until 2007. So I was limited by what took less than an hour to download. Otherwise, I got my parents saying, "Hey, I need to make a phone call. What's going on? Why are you still online? People have been trying to call the house for an hour." What if I make a demo, players buy a ticket, but there is nothing beyond the demo? Will I be banned? I know you are in charge. Why do you think I'm in charge of everything, Roxy? I'm not. I don't have the power to ban players. I don't. That's not my job. As far as if you wanted to be a troll and sell a pass to nothing, then that is on you and your reputation. Because people can comment on your game, and you're gonna get a whole bunch of people yelling at you in the comments, and people are going to learn to look at those comments and go, "Oh, hey, this game has only 1 star and all the comments are full of rage. I wonder why. Oh, let me give him my money anyway." No, they're not going to do that. I think you'd be reported and your game removed. So I don't think having like a troll behind an unlock would be game removal worthy. It's like a buyer beware thing, right? You can still do what you want with your land. But you're not gonna gain followers. You're not gonna gain the trust of people. Like, why are people willing to buy Wizzy stuff from me? Not for me, from me. Why are people willing to buy Wizzy stuff from me? Because they know that they're getting a quality thing, and because I do cool things with them later. They know that I don't just, I'm not abandoning the sandbox and like leaving them holding these items with nothing to do with them. They know that there's plans and that I'm working on stuff. And we've built up like 4.5 years of trust here, right? There's a reputation behind it. So if you do a troll joke, you better hope that the people that you're playing the joke on like really like you and know that it's a one-off and that the next thing you do won't be a joke, or you're not going to be able to sell anything anymore. Like, don't be a troll to your consumers. Like, if you want things to work out, like, that's like a speed run to failure to make people pay for nothing. It could get reported. Actually, now that I think about it, it could be seen as a scam. So it depends on how you present it. If you don't make any claims about what's behind the token gate and just have a token gated area, and people are like, "Oh, what's that?" and then they buy it and it's like a troll face picture behind it. I don't think that would be bannable, or like that there would be any moderation involved if you made no claims. But if you said on your experience page, buy the token because you'll unlock all this cool stuff, and there's these whole like 10 hours of content afterwards, and you'll get a sand reward and all these other things, and it's just a troll face, and you do none of that, then yeah, you scammed people. You told them you were selling them something, and that's not what you were selling them. If you say, "Hey, here's a hat for $5, and it unlocks this door," and there's nothing behind the door, then yeah, people are going to get mad, but they didn't get scammed. You didn't say that there was anything behind the door. It just said it unlocks it. That's not the same thing as a scam. But if you say there's all this stuff and then it's not there, then yeah, that would get you in trouble. So yeah, you are in charge. I knew it. I'm not the one who'd be banning it. I do have the power to ban experiences. I do not have the power to ban players. But I'm not in charge of banning experiences or players. Just, I used to do experience moderation. I don't do it anymore. So I do have powers for things, but I don't know why you're assuming what my powers are. That's on you. People play TSB to earn money. That's not why I play TSB. Although I suppose I do earn money, but it's not, I don't really earn that much from playing. I play TSB because it's my life. I get paid to test, and I get paid to build and do this, and sometimes we play on this, but it's not the same as like play to earn. But if I was there are people who get into the sandbox because they hear about play to earn, stuff like that. Although I don't think a lot of our marketing's focused on play to earn lately. I enjoy playing games. I've got, gosh, between various video game systems and my computer, I've got to have over 2,000 games. I'm overcompensating for a childhood where I was not allowed to have video games. On Steam alone, I've got like 1,500 games. And then, you know, I've got Epic, GOG, itch.io, Battle.net, Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Wii, Playdate, Sega Genesis, Xbox 360, PlayStation 2, and meaning also some PlayStation 1 and GameCube on the Wii. Switch also has the emulators for N64, Super Nintendo, NES. So, I mean, I have no shortage. One of these days, I'll be able to retire and actually play all these games. But yeah, I play games to play games. The play to earn is a cool new way of gaining players, but you don't want to make play to earn games that aren't fun to play and just be like, well, this is your replacement for work. You want to make a game that's fun and provides rewards for the players. And for me, I like the concept of play to earn better when you're playing to earn rewards like equipment over just earning sand. I think like that there's play to earn exists in a different way. If you look at Call of Duty's Battle Pass, when you buy the Battle Pass, some of the unlocks as you go through the Battle Pass season are COD points, and COD points let you buy cosmetics. But most of what you unlock are the cosmetics themselves. But you have to buy the Battle Pass, just like you have to buy an Alpha Season Pass, depending on where you end up in that situation. We've had like raffles and giveaways and stuff where people have gotten those for free. But if you look at something like the Call of Duty Battle Pass, the value of what you get out of it should be similar to what you're paying into it. The difference with something like the Sandbox is that you can sell the things that you earn, whether it's sand or COD points or avatars. In Call of Duty, those would be the operators, equipment, gun skins, or even just like weapon unlocks. All the different things that you can earn in a Sandbox season versus a Call of Duty Battle Pass. I think those would be on a similar level, but the difference with the Sandbox is that you can sell the ones that you don't want and keep the ones you do want. And you can cash that out to US dollars. Call of Duty points, well, you can't sell the cosmetics afterwards, and the Call of Duty points are only to be used in Call of Duty. So that's where I see the difference in play to earn. I know that 2021 we saw things like Axie Infinity and other games where play to earn was like an actual, you can make a living off of it. And I would think that would be cool if that comes back, but I don't know how feasible that is long term. I guess if you consider advertisers, like people advertising in a game, if that's where the money comes from, that's one possibility. So you see the change from like the Web 2 format is like a YouTube content creator. They're making videos that you watch and they're selling advertisement and they make that money. The viewers are consuming the content and watching the ads, and they're not making any money from it. So if you move that over to Web3, the idea is that the creator is passing some of that money on to the viewers, which is something that they do in the Web2 format also. If you think about like the giveaways that they do on their channel, like, hey, everybody sign up for this raffle, I'm giving away an iPad or whatever. That kind of stuff does happen. So, doing play to earn with the sand token, you can distribute it a little more evenly, where it's not like one person's getting like $1,000 iPad versus, 500 people getting $2 worth of sand. I think the idea of like making an income through play to earn is the right stars have to align for that to work. But what I like to focus on more so than play to earn to earn a living is play to earn some cool stuff that you get to use in game. And if you don't want it, you can sell it off. That's what I think is a more practical. There's got to be a creation of value somewhere, right? And if an artist is making an asset that people can get for free and then maybe sell off if they don't want it, there is value created in the artist making that asset. So something has to come from somewhere. And I think earning items that are cool and potentially could be sold off, I think is a good model for play to earn versus just straight sand pumping into players. Alex is demigod in Sandbox. One day maybe become a god, but not today or soon. I think the proper term is old head more so than demigod, but I appreciate it. Clanker says, in my opinion, a 10-cent pay to play isn't asking too much. Yeah, I don't think that's asking much. I mean, that's less. So 10 cents pay to play only works if a catalyst is less than 10 cents. So that's the difficulty, right? So if you want it to be profitable or at least break even in the sandbox, you need to be charging people at least 25 cents for the minted item. I would, to be on the safe side, sell it for 30 cents. So that way it covers the 1 sand for the catalyst and minting fees. I'm losing my voice for talking too much today. I'm gonna have to take a break. Team Sebga asks if this mechanic will be added in the Game Maker. I mean, to use the token to play sand or others. It already exists. We've shown it on stream before, but I can show it again. So that drawing that I had up on the screen and everything that I was talking about token gating, those are mechanics you can build right now. Oh, I see further down, Byverson says you need to assign, enter your experience, enter. Yeah. So yeah, you can't do it on base. This has to be done with sandbox assets. The way you could do it would require staff intervention to bridge your collection to the sandbox's avatars. And that's not a feature that we have open to everybody yet. Because you can use avatars as the NFT sensor. So yeah, it does require sandbox assets or an avatar collection. But if we just do... If we wanted to make this door... Excuse me. If we wanted to make this door have something that makes it open, we can add the NFT sensor. Interact, and then we add the token IDs. So it requires a Sandbox Marketplace URL. Or it can be part of a collection. And so the collections are Solo Leveling, Jab We Met, Abos, Hellboy, Agorians, Paris Hilton, all the avatar stuff. So you would need to partner with the sandbox to have your ones added here. So, I mean, some of them are... I feel like Yep, the Frenchies are in there. Fun Guy Family is in there. Everest. So you see that, you know, there's studios that started in the sandbox who are in there. Sorry. Huh. So let's say, you know, we do solo leveling in here. And this is the showed failed UI thing. So, oh, actually, I want to connect it to the mechanics. So, success message to open would be success. And it's not going to work because I don't have a Jab We Met avatar. Ooh. I didn't jump far enough. So I get this buy now. Blockchain transactions may take up to 10 minutes to be updated. So that's how you could do that. And you can, my suggestion if you did a timer was that at the start of the game, the timer would just start. Well, first it would sense if you have the item or not. If you have the item, the timer would not start. If you don't have the item, the timer would start. And when the timer expires, it would pull up that message. So you'd want something like, get a logic donut in here. You'd have it start a timer. I would do it with a variable so people could see the timer. You could also make it a quest, I suppose, if you wanted. And the NFT sensor, the failure message. Sorry, the failure message would go into game over. End game. What is it? Oh, defeat. That's what it's called. Show failed UI. You might need an extra step in here. Let's see. So if we don't have the collection of, say, solo leveling, interact, we're just gonna have it. I don't know if it's gonna start automatically there. We'll see. You know, we'll just do the whole thing. We'll make the timer. So let's go to gameplay. We're gonna add a trigger event. There we go. On player join. Timer.start. Time. Start timer. Timer.start. Time variable. Demo timer. Formatting. Create. Roxy Bengals says I'm going to make a sip to delete that intro song and also remove the edit logic button. I have pointed out that the edit logic button is stressful. I think we need two modes. We need a beginner mode that has the edit logic there as an option if you want to expand what you can do. Um, but if you want if you're more advanced in your settings, you would just say skip it. I want all the edit logic to be open by default. Paying sand directly in. So there's some difficulties with paying sand directly into the game. There's a bunch of technical considerations. I know that that is something that the team is interested in doing, that Seb and Arthur are interested in having happen. Um, it's kind of where to start with it. So because the sandbox is global, we've got studios working around the world, we got players all around the world. You do have to navigate carefully around money being spent in game with things because there are some countries that outright ban it. I think China's one of them. They've either banned microtransactions or they've like there's certain rules. I think it's the or pay for more time that they've banned. I don't remember exactly, but there are certain aspects of microtransactions that are banned in some countries. So, what the sandbox allows and how much control they allow creators to have over that, they do have to be careful about how that happens because it affects the age rating of the game and the legality of the game to be available to play in that region. $50 of liquidity for 150 million tokens. I feel like that's a little unbalanced. Yeah, but the more people who make those suggestions through the Jira ticket, um, the more attention it's going to get. So obviously, like I said, there's complications on making that a reality, especially as you start looking at mobile and like what the Apple App Store and Android, uh, Google Play Store allow, um, and how that affects pricing because those platforms, Apple in particular, enforces um, their fees on top of things. And with the fluctuation of sand pricing, how flexible is Apple going to be on that pricing? It becomes very complicated. Um, Ian the IT guy says I got a problem with the door animations when I open a new template of a door and then export it into a new unlock file. In the animations don't show up anymore from deleting them from a different file to test the size of the door. Sorry, I'm gonna when I open a new template of a door and then export it into a new unlock file, the animations don't show up anymore. I'm not sure. That last sentence is confusing me. Sorry. See you later, Clankers. Have a good one. Android store will not cause problems, but the Apple store will definitely cause problems. Yeah. So I heard that I don't know if it's just in Europe, they're forcing Apple to allow iPhones to install apps not from the App Store now. They're saying that it's like a monopoly that the App Store is placing. So like you need to enable people to sideload without jailbreaking. Technically, there are like ways around that already, but um, Yeah, I don't know if that's coming like globally or to the US, but I have heard that there was some ruling in a court somewhere. um, so Team Sebga, uh, melee enemies are not supported by multiplayer. Technically, that behavior can be in a multiplayer game, but it's not going to behave correctly. Um, and if you try to spawn them from a multiplayer spawner, that's definitely not gonna work well. The game maker, so the game maker does have this button up here next to the play button, which is like the multiplayer simulator, but it's still, I think it's not quite perfect in that there's still some things that slip through which are not technically supported by multiplayer that the game maker, because you're actually playing it in single player, it still allows it to do. um, I have specifically had issues with mismatching the multiplayer and single player when spawning assets. So if you've got a multiplayer spawner trying to spawn a single player item or a single player spawner trying to spawn a multiplayer item, I I think that specifically does not work. Um, so you need to make sure that those logics are the same. Now the NPC, the different NPC behaviors, functionally, I don't think they say single player or multiplayer anymore, but that most of their features are single player focused. Do you know who's the regional manager of South America? I I'm guessing you mean in the sandbox, and I don't know. So manager, I think you mean like customer service manager. Like there's different kinds of managers. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. uh, that we've got community managers for specific regions. So like I know who the uh he's the what's his official title? There's somebody who's the like manager of growth in Asia, specifically Hong Kong. I don't think the title's manager though. Community manager for the region. I know you are in charge, Roxy Miguel. Why? I'm not in charge. I used to have like 100 artists under me, and I have one sort of right now. I used to I used when we had the creator fund, I was the manager of all the artists in the creator fund. So technically I didn't manage every single artist, but I managed the group leaders, and the group leaders managed their artists. So I had like, I think it was like 8 managers under me, and they each had like 5 to 10 artists under them. Um, and then I handed that off to commit to Gatastow, if you're familiar with his artwork on here. He and I started about the same time in the Creator Fund, and then so he became the manager of all the artists, and I that's when I started picking artists to be on staff, and then I was kind of the manager for the staff artists. And since then, Voxel Bunny has become the production manager for the staff artists. The Creator Fund closed down, and Gato Stow moved on from being the Creator Fund program manager to uh, lead technical artist, sort of. I don't know if that title is official, but he like does stuff with the templates and making sure that everything's up to date. Um, and me, I just have my fingers in all the pies. I'm not in control of anything, but I work on everything, more or less. I weave between the different departments and just annoy everybody. That's what I do. But I guess I'm what's the the art content manager. Like I'm in charge of assets, sort of. So like if it's hard to it's there's so much context that I can't like explain easily. But I do stuff with the art assets that we do that we use. Um, TSB country manager, but I know that regions have their own manager as well. Yeah, I don't know who it is in South America. Um, yeah, CM is it would be community manager. So um, the main community managers are Scott and Amy, or Mr. T and is Scott and Aminata is Amy. And you'll see them on Discord all the time. Specifically Scott. Amy, I think Amy does more stuff with like our Medium articles and social media stuff, and not as much on Discord. But Scott's like the main admin for Discord. Um, and they're kind of over everything. As far as like the smaller communities, not smaller, but like the regional communities, um, I don't know how much they like hang out on Discord and stuff, but they will like help run events. So if we have an event in say Hong Kong or in Argentina or like wherever, there'll be people who help manage those. And I don't really interact with those people as much, so I don't actually know who they are for every region. Um, the like the guys from Hong Kong, I've interacted with them a lot more just because they promote experiences for events, and oftentimes I am the council. My company is not related to the DAO Council. That's the DAO Special Council, but the Council of Wizzies, my company. We oftentimes do QA for the events coming out of Hong Kong, so I've interacted with that uh, regional manager more often, but for the other regions, not so much. So, I could probably look it up on like our HR system, but I don't actually know who's in charge of South America. um, all right, so the door animation. Ian, the IT guy, says, got a problem with the door animation when I open a new template of the door. Yeah, okay, I read that already. Um, it only has idle animations error while importing. Make sure the source and destination rigs are compatible when you try and import animations manually. How long ago did you make the door? Because the door might have updated since you made it. In which case, I would suggest. Uh, hmm. If you changed the nodes, it's not going to import the animation. That's part of the issue. So if you unlocked the template, added nodes, and then tried importing the animation from the original one before you added the nodes, it's going to have an error because there's missing, it doesn't understand why there's extra nodes. So the VoxEdit files are broken down to the models, which are the VXMs. Those are the individual voxel pieces. Then you've got the voxel rigs, the VXR, which is literally just the list of the node hierarchy and which VXMs are attached to those nodes. And then you've got the VXA, which is the voxel animations, and that says, okay, this node is at this position and this rotation, and this node is at this position and this rotation on this frame, and all the animation information. Um, uh, you don't need the door template to make a door. You just need the animations. Yeah, I mean, I know there were recently some updates to the door template, so maybe depending on when you made something, there may have been a change. We tried to make some new cool stuff for the door, so it's more compatible with different things. So there's some new animations. We've got opening and closing 1 through 4. So you've got closing 1, closing 2, so you can flip the sides, the directions. Closing 3 is sliding, and closing 4 is coming down from the top. So you can change them all around however you want. Now let's say we save that, and you wanted to import it into a new blank rig. Um, sorry. So we import that, and it looks like I got the animations. And now you can modify them however you want. Um, so as far as door collisions, it's based on whatever your default animation is. So remember, you can always click the little drop down and set as default. So idle is the default animation. So it takes a snapshot of this, and this is what the collision is. So literally not this square down here, because that's just an empty node, so that doesn't count. But exactly the rectangle made by all of these objects put together. So it fills in at the bottom here. So everything between these two posts is collision, and it's a like a tight fit to that. If say you made this, if this was the default, then your collision would be this entire rectangle from top all the way to the bottom. And if this was your default, then it would be the same height, but it would have this thickness. This whole area in the middle would also be collision. So it's whatever the first frame on your default animation is, and it's a rectangle combining those whole things. It doesn't count the gap here. It is just a single box. Whatever Amazon box this entire thing fits in, basically, is the collision. The door template's been there for a long time. uh, yeah, we've got the equipment, we've got the different size humans, we've got some mammals, some dinosaurs, some birds and fish. Oh. We got the spiderling, which used to be called a spider, and people complained because it only has 6 legs. So I said, well, it's not a spider, it's a spiderling. And I haven't heard anybody complain since then. uh, and yeah, so the door template, the reason why we have a door template is because it teaches people what size their door needs to be. It's 2 meters by 3 meters. That's the size we recommend for doors. Technically, you can walk the human character through a 1 meter by 2 meter space, but that is a bit on the tight side and not very friendly to the camera, so we recommend it be bigger. It's for accessibility reasons. Ian, the IT guy, says when I uninstall and reinstall VoxEdit, it doesn't fix it. Um, I would suggest, Ian, the IT guy, if you haven't already, I would suggest making a ticket on Discord to ask for support for that. Maybe somebody who works with VoxEdit can help. Um, they may even call me in to help with that. I think it would be easier because I'm having a little bit of a hard time understanding where you're getting the error. And in a ticket, you'll be able to share like screenshots and files and stuff where I'll be able to understand what's going on better. Yeah. All right. It is 2:30. We started at noon. So I'm going to take a little break here cuz I'm getting drowsy just sitting here talking, and we haven't started building anything yet. I was going to actually work on some stuff today. But we've had some good conversations. Um, Roxy McGill, you got to stop saying I'm in charge of everything. People are going to start believing you, and they're going to blame me for things that I have no control over. uh, all right. We're going to do the news of the week from Panda, and I'll be back in a bit, and hopefully get get the blood flowing in my brain again. All right. I'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to this week's News of the Week with me, PandaPops. This week, over in the Sandbox, mint now the 7 Nights in Stone Age Avatar Collection. Go take a look, click mint now, follow the process to go mint your avatar. They look super cute. Definitely go check them out. Make sure to check out all the current events happening, as well as checking out the new Game Maker survival template. And look for the experiences of the week. There is a reward of 10k sand given out to anybody that takes part in playing the experiences of the week. There is a VoxEdit contest. You can go find the details over at VoxEdit on Twitter, or you can go into the Discord and have a look in the creator announcements section where you'll find the Medium article. You do not have long left. In fact, if you are watching this news of the week on any day other than Wednesday, there's a good chance you have already missed it. Farm-inspired assets. There is a prize pool of 7,600 sand, including a participation prize of 25 sand for the first 100 valid participants that don't place in the top 10. Please check out all the important dates, including the deadline, which is September 5th, 11:59 p.m. UTC. Please convert that to your local time. We will not be able to count any submissions submitted past the deadline time and date. We do have our September claims, so make sure to go over to your claims page and claim your avatar owner rewards. It is superhero themed. Also, make sure to claim any of your other claims, keeping an eye on those dates that they will expire. So do keep an eye on the expiry dates. They will need to be claimed. Now, on to our mentions of the week. We are going to rapid fire through quite a lot of these mentions, because I'm showing you quite a lot of assets right now. Gearlock Door by Choco Punk. Absolutely gorgeous detail. Stunning. Stunning door. Look at these animations. Close, closed, idle, open, and open animation. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. That is by Choco Punk for 40 sand. Next up is our Love Sword by Ann Joyce. 15 sand for this gorgeous love sword. Look at that detail. Look at the pinkness, the wings, the color. I love it. The pastels. Yes. Next up is this amazing detailed textured teddy bear. Now, obviously, I can see right here there's a few faces, but this is also super textured. So it looks like it could be more faces than it is, but it isn't. It's just really, really well textured. And this is by All Common Assets. Next up is Pet's Kitchen Egg Frying Pan. This is an equipment. Sword equipment. 10 sand. Look at this. Absolutely lovely. Love the egg in there. Egg frying pan. Next up, we have the Noodle Bar by Kobusaw. Hopefully I said that name right. 20 sand. 20 sand for this beautiful, beautiful asset. There's room in there for you to be able to put some additional assets if you like, or a character. Make sure to check out Gnomes vs. Knights in the experiences page. Absolutely fantastic game by Not Animated. We then have Floating Haven by Sanja. This one placed within one of the game jams that we did. Absolutely amazing. We then have Atlas Mission Run by PG Metaverse OG. That's it for our news of the week. Now back to your regular scheduled content.
Hey, that's me. Let's get the music going again. All right. So, we were setting up this timer. So we wanted to do, how do we make a demo timer? It's easy enough to make a demo gate. I feel like what we've shown with NFT gating before, it's pretty straightforward. You just come to a point in the game where they can't progress, whether that means like just the next quest won't activate, or they come to a locked door, whatever it may be. But it just says, hey, you need this NFT if you're going to go any further. So that's pretty simple to set up. You're all smart. I think you'll figure it out. We've shown it on stream before. But what if we want to do a timer? So we need to have an NFT gate at the start of the game. So we've got this NFT sensor. Let's duplicate this. So we've got our first one, which is going to see if they have the item, and if they don't have it, it does not pull up the menu, it starts the timer. So if it is successful, nothing happens. If it fails, then it's not going to show the failed user interface. It's just going to show failure, or say failure. So if failure happens, then it goes to our okay, we need on player join. We don't want that to be timer start. We want that to be NFT that check. Okay, so it's not going to start our timer. So on player join, it does NFT check. Message required on our sensor is NFT check. And failure message is going to be our start timer. Timer.start. Success, nothing needs to happen. You just play the game normally. Okay, so we sent that timer.start message. It goes into our logic here, our demo timer variable, fixed value. We're going to set it real super low just so that way we can see it. So we're going to say 10 seconds. That's going to give us enough time to see that it's on the screen. And let me just make sure that's in seconds, right? Yeah, timer in seconds. Okay. Message to stop the rule, none. Message to send, I think that's when it ends, right? Select the outgoing message to be sent when the timer reaches 0. Right, okay. NFT, or let's say timer end. Timer.end. You know what? Let's put an NFT pass on there also. So we got timer end. Let's add another rule in here. And it's going to be a banner. And it's going to be NFT.pass. And we're going to move that over here. Not, well, can we move it? Can we not rearrange these? I feel like I've done it before. it doesn't really matter. So NFT Pass is going to show a banner. It's going to show a banner for 10 seconds. Message to send on close, none. Select a variable. And it's going to be text. Thank you, banner. And enter the text. Thank you for purchasing a pass. We hope you enjoy the game. Wait. Can we not make like a longer one? Oh, wait, what? I'm confused now. What's the difference here? For X seconds, select the rule, trigger the rule, duration, select the outgoing message to be sent. Select the variable that will be displayed in the selected slot. This logic box is required to activate this rule. Complete all logic boxes marked in red. Select the name that will be shown in the selected slot. The icon that will be shown in the selected slot. I mean, you can do a pop-up also. I guess a banner, you don't want the text to be too long. Why did it? What? I haven't set up one of these banners before, that's why I'm struggling a little bit. And what icon should we pick? All right, so it's going to show this banner. We'll see if it looks good. And change it later. Demo timer, fixed value, duration, message up, none, message send, timer end. All right, and then we've got time, demo timer, formatting. It crashed? What? Hey, Henry. Twitch thinks that I crashed. Anybody on YouTube still see me? It looks like I'm still up on Twitch. Both YouTube and Twitch are working. I don't know what happened to Roxy Miguel. Same time as well. 2 hours and 30 minutes in. I don't know. Twitch is still working for me. Brief interruption. Guys at the internet these days, what are they doing to it? Yeah, it does say I've only been on for 1 minute and 59 seconds on Twitch. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't touch anything. It wasn't me. All right, what were we doing? Selected slots. So we want to do. Where's the info? There we go. Default, the slot will not change and inherit the previously set content. Edit, choose new content for selected content. So we want to select the variable demo timer. Variable value can always exceed the minimum and max limits during gameplay. So there's soft limits, meaning I think visually it would only show between like 0 and 100%, but you could go into the negative. You just wouldn't show it necessarily. Did it crash again? Okay. Why is this stuff breaking now? It's worked fine for years. I don't know. Stress. Okay. I don't think I need to worry about the min-max values there. All right, so we're turning that on the HUD with NFT check, or actually we'll do it with timer start. Timer.start. Okay, and excuse me. We want to also disable it when the timer ends. So we're going to duplicate this and timer end. That way, if somebody buys the NFT at the end of the timer, it doesn't leave the 0 timer at the top. So timer end, change, and it's going to hide it. Okay. All right. So we got the banner, and then at timer end, we are also going to enable a sensor. And solo leveling is what we have in there. On success message, I think we can just play on, but failure message is going to be where we do the defeat. So we don't want it to be here. Okay, we got the NFT sensor. This is the one that we have defeat on. So, on receive message. Failure. All right, let's see if this works. Okay, didn't do the on player join. Let's give it a couple seconds to do that. Have that timer count down, even if it's not visible. All right, what do we do wrong here? Failure message is timer.start. Everyone in range, we actually want to set to rules. That may have been the reason why it didn't work. On player join. NFT check. Start timer. Timer start. Demo time. Oh yeah, NFT pass is our success message. I forgot about that. All right, success message is nft.pass. nft.pass. Failure message. On receive message. Failure. Okay, let's try that again. Hey, there we go. It's just because I was setting to proximity and not to rules. So our timer activated, and now it's going to fail, and it's going to bring up the NFT check, and it defeated me immediately, which is not what we want. Okay. So how do we make that not so abrupt? I don't think... we can have it... we could force it to stay on that menu. So failure message is going to keep on sending NFT dot check. Or sorry, timer end, I mean. So just keep on checking it every single time we fail. This could be fine or it could be really bad. It just lets us continue on. All right, need to cough there. So we could have it loop over and over. And just kind of make the game miserable. We could also just have an asker, I think. I think the asker will be behind the NFT check. Let's see. Are you sure you want to quit? Okay, on receive message, defeat, failure. That's fine being over there. We could move it over here, doesn't really matter. Okay, so timer ends. It does the check. Success message is nft.pass. Failure message is timer.end. Do nft.fail and turn this on with nft.fail. And we'll send to all. Okay, so now I think it should have the asker behind the NFT screen. I don't really like that. And then it's going to send it in a loop. So I don't really like the way it's visible behind this screen. Probably a better way we could do that. And that didn't send. Oh, failure was the sent the wrong message. Okay. So it kind of works. There's other things that you could do besides that asker. You could teleport the player to like a secluded location, so that way they're like in a dark room, or you could even spawn blocks around them or something. You can do something to kind of like lock them away until they pass, and then teleport them back to where they were. Because you could put a tag on the player, and then when basically you have like a checkpoint for them to spawn on. So when before it teleports them away, have the item that they teleport back to spawn wherever they are by using the you kill it, you make it, you give it a health component and say it respawns at, and then it uses the player's tag as the location it respawns to. That way it's like a little checkpoint of just exactly where they were, except now they've been teleported away. And then if they pass it, it'll take them back. But only if they pass it. And that way you just kind of lock them away in the like purchase room, basically. Okay, so that's all right. And then if we switch what item it's looking for, let's do it for something that I actually have. Let's go for Zepto Labs. Now let's try it. And thank you for buying a pass. Enjoy the game. I don't like that the thank you is smaller than the for buying a pass. I don't know if you can do formatting on those. Maybe you can. But now we know that that works. So yeah, set up a timer for like 5 minutes. And make sure that your first 5 minutes of your game are really super fun. And then be like, hey, pay up. How's that work? All right, let's go back to main menu here. So if you don't want to hear the music at the start, you can go to your settings and you can turn the music off or down. But then that also means you're not going to hear it once you're doing stuff. I'm okay with the new music because it's still new and fresh. The old song was getting tired of hearing it every single time. All right, so we're working on these gloves here. We need them to be a brighter purple. So we're going to try this one. Or maybe this one. Yeah, let's go with that. It's B and C. And 2. I promise you that's a 2. All right, and then we do a little finger wiggle. Just gonna do a little bit of that action. Is the music freezing up again? Hey, Sanskrit. That's right. Use it wherever I can. Not Jackie Chan came up with that. I've tried wearing a watch now because I haven't worn a watch since I got a cell phone in 2007, and I'm not used to it. It makes my wrist all sweaty. I don't like it. No, the music. Stop. Except don't stop. Don't stop, music. Why are you like that? Oh, maybe it's because Wizzy wasn't dancing there. That's why. We're gonna leave him there. Solar powered watch. This one's a battery, but it says it lasts 7 years. It's a $10 watch from Walmart. I wasn't gonna go with something fancy after all these years of not having one. What I really wanted is a 15-minute chime, because with ADHD and time blindness, 15 minutes like flies by when I'm doing something. I have no sense of time when I'm working. I just kind of get into what I'm doing, and it's like, oh, 3 hours went by. I forgot dinner or whatever. Um, I don't wear watches. I wear smells. What? So I was hoping to find a watch that does a 15-minute chime. And apparently, you could do it on an Apple Watch, but I don't want to spend that much money on a watch when I'm probably not going to wear it that often because they make my wrists sweaty and I'm not used to wearing them, and I don't like that. I need. I wish my phone would do it, but the phone doesn't have an option. I would have to set up 15-minute reminders every single day to go off, like so many alarms. Just, and I just want a beep to be like, hey, 15 minutes went by. That's all I want. It's not that complicated, but apparently it's not a common thing, so it's kind of hard to find something that'll do it. All right, how do I do a G-Shock? Is it? Wait, does G-Shock have a 15-minute chime? I'm not spending $1,200. Oh, they have cheaper ones too. Oh wait, is that the cast? I had a G-Shock. I didn't know they were called G-Shocks. I had a watch just like this when I was a kid. Maybe it wasn't a G-Shock. It was definitely a Casio. I remember it had the Casio logo on it. Casio Men's Vintage F91W resin strap digital watch. This is exactly what I had. It basically looks like a G-Shock, but it's the cheaper version. This is what I had when I was a kid. Every guy. G-Shocks are a little bit fancier. Um, Here we go. This is the G-Shock. So I'll put them side by side. There we go. Very similar. But yeah, this is the one that I had. I didn't have the G-Shock. And this watch is similar to that. It's what is this? George or whatever the Walmart brand is. It doesn't even say on it, I don't think. I think I tossed the box also. Um it's very, very similar. Like I mean, the interface is a little bit different, but it's kind of the same thing. The main reason I got this one is that it was the only one with a fabric band. Because, like I said, my wrist gets all sweaty, and if you're wearing like a resin or leather, it's just like nasty. So at least this is like a little bit breathable. Um, but it's kind of warm in here right now. I didn't. It was cold this morning. It was like 50 degrees. Uh, what is that in non-freedom units? It was like 10 degrees Celsius this morning. It's a little bit chilly. And now it's 26, which isn't like super hot, but it's pretty toasty. It's in Fahrenheit, that's a 30-degree difference. So my AC's on, but just very not enough. um, and I didn't want to like adjust my noise settings for the fan blowing louder and stuff. So it's warming up in here. Warm enough to be on the water. 10C, not so much. Yeah. Yeah. It was 10 when I took my daughter to school. And now it's 26. And I'm starting to sweat a little bit. That's why I took off the watch. I'm just like, I'm getting a little moist over here. All right. So I'm looking at like the way fingers move. And if I want to do a spell, I tend to start with the pinky and wave to the pointer. I can't I can't do it the other way. I can't wave the fingers out. That just feels wrong. Can anybody do that? Are you able? I can easily go like that. And I can't I can't do it the same way. It feels wrong. Need piano practice. I play bass, which typically it's okay. So I can if I'm strumming bass, I'm not using my pinky. It's mostly the first two fingers. Sometimes I'll use the third, and it'll be based on like which one's closest to the string that it's gonna hit next. It's not like in a particular order. Um, and I skip the pinky because it's not strong enough to get a good pluck on the string. Um, but if I'm drumming my hands on something like it's pinky and I'd roll, but I can't. It's uneven. I can't roll the opposite direction. So ADHD plus tangents equals progress. Well, I'm this is specifically related to what I'm animating, so I'm just thinking we'll go pinky up. So it's the hands like this, and we're gonna go as its little spell casting. My giant ghost girl hands go pinky to pointer. Giant. Oh, the mask or the whatever it is. The whatever is it? Does it attach to your hip? Jazz hands goes pinky to pointer. Yeah. So it's gonna be the same thing here. It's gonna be the same thing. Is that 1 second? One Mississippi, two Mississippi, three. That's too slow. One Mississippi. I think I can get two. One Mississippi. Yeah, I think I get two. So we'll do a half-second loop. So we'll start with the pinky. And we're gonna go out. Oh, I need to start there. And we're gonna go up. We're gonna have to move these keyframes out more. So do it to 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll swing a bit more open. That is really fast though. And we're gonna do our acceleration curve, quadratic in out. So it goes, it opens most of the way and then kind of pulls down first and then closes. But we won't pull it down all the way. And then this one's going to follow after. Maybe we'll uncurl it a little bit slower and then go right back. Let's see if we can get the music going again. So come up. Finger starts to flatten out and then pulls back. Skip the beat. Don't do this to me. I guess I really just need to download all the songs, make a playlist. All right, that's enough. When I was in college, we all hung out in this student lounge, me and the friends that I made in this student lounge. And it's where I first started hanging out with my wife, who was, we weren't even dating yet at that point. Um, and there was a VGA cable that we could plug into our laptops, and we'd pull up stuff on YouTube or whatever, play games and stuff. And we had a rule. It's like if it buffers like 3 times in a minute, you pass the cable to somebody else. It's like you're done. So I guess we're going sans music. Actually, we're supposed to be done right about now, right? It's been 4 hours. I mean, well, technically it's only been 3, but because I started late. So let's at least get this started here. Do that motion, and let's make sure that we've got the right acceleration on both. Okay. So now we're going to collapse these. We're going to select these keyframes. We're going to copy them, and we're going to paste them, but offset a bit. So we're going to select the next phalange here and paste. No, or not. Paste. Why isn't it pasting? Copy. Paste. Why are you being difficult? Okay, it pasted it on the same. I thought you could copy to a different. Well, I guess we can do this. If we select, if we go up here, we can go this. And then we can drag them up to the other finger. Oh no, that changes its position also. We didn't want that. We just want the rotation. So we're going to open these back up. And we're actually going to delete the position part of the frames. So that way the key is only rotation. And I think that should fix it. Hey, there we go. And then we'll copy and we'll do it again. And 1, 2. Oh, wait. That doesn't look right. That. There we go. 1, 2. And 1, 2. And now we need to offset our starting keys. So we're going to move these up 2. And move these up 2. I mean, we can actually just copy and paste these all at the same time. 2. And 1, 2. Now, nice little wave. And was this a 2-second animation? It is a 2-second animation. I really wish I could expand my animation bar here. I actually, I could probably. There's probably something inside the code I could edit to like just expand this box, but I don't want to break anything. All right, and now we can repeat it. So we're going to select all of these. And it goes this one to there. Stops here, so we can repeat it at this point, I think. That didn't look quite right. I guess they do need to eventually settle back in place. So let's actually grab all of these. And these. And do that. That's a bit better. And we'll repeat it one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2. Wait. Did that just perfectly stop at 2 seconds? Or, oh, okay, there we go. There's the rest of it. It's like, no way. There's no way it looped perfectly. One more Paris redeemed. Oh, yay. Ian the IT guy got Queen of the Metaverse, Paris Hilton NPC. Congrats. All right. So everything past the 2-second mark, let's see if we can loop that back. We may need to adjust the timing. Or I may just adjust the length of that spin. It's probably easier to change. So if we go back 1, 2, then it should be everything after 1, 2, everything from here on. So we're going to take a snapshot here. We're going to copy these frames here. See, and then we're going to put them on the 3-second mark just as like to save them for later. And actually, we're not even going to put them there yet because we don't want to interfere with what's going on here. So we're going to put those there, and we're going to hit the keyframe all to make a keyframe of exactly what's going on at this second. And then we'll paste here because we're going to put those back. These are our starting positions for all of these. And we're going to move it to the back there. And then we're going to take these and put them back here, right there. That's right. And now we're going to take our rotation, our spin. Oh, wait, what's the last frame here? Why did I do it that way? Our spin. Our last frame is here. So we're going to take these and stretch it to here. And now we should have a nice loop. It's maybe a little bit fast. I think it's okay. It's maybe more uncanny how long the fingers are, but we can't really help that too much because of the size of the hands, and we have to wrap around them. I think I might adjust the timing a little bit. Definitely going to change the centering here of our spin. Let's get rid Oh, good. Our position isn't even keyframed. So let's move it to here. I think that's pretty good. So I might want to like make the fingers do a little bit different stuff. Why does it come to a full stop? Where is that? Is it here? They just all lock in there. You know what? Oh, it's because I didn't advance it for the next. I should have done another loop and then cut it where it was. That's why. Can the fingers be a little bit more extended, like stretched out, like a little more out? I agree that I like this better than that, but the fact is that we don't have a way for people to do that pose at the moment. There is an emote for spellcasting, but it's not enabled on avatars. It's just an NPC thing. So I might adjust it a little bit, but I kind of want to see what dances it works with to be doing an emote like this, and so I'll adjust the fingers a bit, but I'll do that later today. Um, but this should be minted tonight probably, um, and I'm gonna start distribution tomorrow on these. But yeah, I want to fix that loop so that way it doesn't all stop right here. It should loop seamlessly into that. I don't know. What do you think? Should I make the spell wider around and then still center it over the fist? So if I move it back, um, it was here. I kind of like the way that looks in static around the hand. I just wanted to give more breathing room for the fingers, but maybe they don't even need it. I don't know. What do you think? Looking for your opinion. Oh, my knuckles. The pain. All right. Well, I'm gonna keep on working on that later, but in the meantime, let's see if there's anybody we can raid. Maybe like one voxel towards the wrist. Oh, you're right. Like if they're holding a weapon, so it doesn't interfere with that position. I think that's a good call. Um, is this attached? This is attached to the forearm anyway. I think that's the more sensible placement anyway. Um, let's just fix it here. And then you can see the fingers moving more too. They're not like getting in the way. Um, but what I want to do next with this, once I've got the loop down just right, I kind of want to make little micro adjustments to the angles of the fingers so they're a little more organic and less like locked in. All right. Is anybody in the sandbox right now? I'm glad you like them. I am. I'm glad to be making them. I think Mage Raids was a big success. Uh, we got a lot of people playing stuff, had a lot of fun, and I hope to do it again real soon. Why is this? Is it gonna select the actual game? Amen. Hey, Kachigaverse. Amen. Oh, whoops. Kachigaverse. Amen. Oh, infinite loop. Okay, there we go. Usually I have Twitch muted. I was just trying to navigate Twitch to find who we're gonna raid. I was not expecting to hear myself. Da, da, da. All right. I don't see anybody streaming right now, so I guess that's it. Nobody I'm following is streaming at the moment either. So I guess we'll just call it a weekend. Uh I will be back here tomorrow at the normal Saturday stream time with Lucas and Yumalitox, aka not Jackie Chan, aka Jar Jar Jackie Chan Binks. And we're gonna try to finish our chess game of Rosham Chess and see if Jar Jar beats Lucas or if I beat Jar Jar. I'm making a big assumption that Lucas isn't going to beat me. He could totally surprise me. All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great start to your weekend. Happy Friday. I'll see you next time.